Welcome to Banking Frontiers Live. We are having some very interesting marketing conversations with the financial services sector. I am talking to various master marketers, and today the master marketer whom I am talking to is Shilpa. Shilpa Desai is from Fullerton. She heads marketing as the CMO of the organization. Hi Shilpa, welcome to Banking Frontiers Live.
Hi, and a big hi to Babu and team.
So, what are the kind of technology trends you see which will make stronger inroads into the life of a marketer in the near future?
The technology that we use is like a railroad. It gets you from A to B. The more seamless you make it, the more adoption there will be. So that's just one instance. Whether it's analytics, whether it's the way we use user experience on our digital interfaces, how much do I know about you so that I don't have to ask you enough so that I make your experience with me seamless is one of the key things we do. And define the experience at various touch points depending on how the customer interacts. You see how we're able to do this at scale with efficiency. That's precisely what we've done. It's an architecture. And hence identify technologies which pretty much allow us to give the experience that we want to do.
Considering the fact that the products are going to be redefined again. Okay, what kind of realignment do you see now?
I wouldn't say products will be redefined. The method in which products are made available may be redefined. For example, like I was saying, in any loan process, you will have largely 4 steps: origination, then first level filtration, then credit decisioning, underwriting. Largely, whether you source the customer digitally or otherwise, these are the 4 buckets. Now, in that process, a lot of opportunity lies in the way you design the product construct itself. And that's the role that marketing also has opportunity to play. Saying the way we've defined the process is largely governed by customer insight. What do we know about the guy? What do we know about the product? And most importantly, how much information to be given to every customer in every screen. Now that sits very well with the product construct. I wouldn't call it digital, it's digitally assisted. I have the credentials, but I feel more assured when I have someone to talk to so that I know all my details are safeguarded.
So, how have you created an element of trust around your customer, okay, in the recent past, and how has it actually changed the entire perception of the customer?
So let me put it this way. Last year, we as a brand actually went to market with our first ad campaign, and we created a positioning for the brand. So Fullerton stands for, the positioning is Rishta Samman Ka. It's a nice thing to say. That is, we treat you with respect. Now you will wonder what's so great about treating you with respect. Isn't that hygiene? No, it isn't. In an environment where I'm a lender and you're a borrower, that relationship is never balanced. I'm always taking higher ground because I'm lending to you and taking a credit risk on you, and you are at the receiving end. That's been pretty much the ecosystem for a long time, right? When the moratorium was announced, I'm using this as a reference or an example or an anchor point. We were among the first few people who actually not only built systems and processes to take requests from customers who fell just within the window of the first cycle when the policy was announced. We spoke to them and directly awarded it to them because we knew they would need it. And most of these customers have been so appreciative of it because we stand by what we say. We reach out and we proactively ask. And trust almost, is like respect. You have to first behave in a manner that elicits that response. I can't go around saying, trust me. Do I look trustworthy? Do my actions make you feel that you're in an environment which is trustworthy? Then yes, it will build trust.
Yeah, so you have to basically
You have to walk the talk.
Speak but walk the talk. Yeah,
Yes.
you put it right. Great, excellent. So you have been a banker for quite some time, and from there to an NBFC. How has this change been for a marketer?
It's been wonderful. And I don't call myself a banker. I would call myself a marketing and a digital specialist. Banking happens to be the industry in which I operate because I realize I'm more a function specialist than an industry specialist. I can't write a line of code if I'm a technology specialist. I can't understand credit as a function, but I understand customer psychology. I understand customer insights. And my biggest job across the last 10, 12 years is how do I make my company's products and services more amenable for usage to our intended audience. That entails understanding customer behavior, the research, understanding technology. So if you understand the overall value chain which you offer your services, across my experience from ICICI to, which is a very large scale bank, to Stancy, which is a very different multinational, to a startup with IDFC, the kind of experience I've got across all of these have been extremely diverse. So banking is the only common, if you ask me. But because I've been in this space and I've always done direct to customer, the kind of learning and insights you get are fundamental to understanding the core category itself. And some of those I've been able to use extremely well in my current job too, because that's the nature of our business. Our business is around our people.
What is your wish list as a marketer?
I get a high in life when I see impact of what I do. I come from a very different thinking because I've also set up and run businesses. So if you ask me wish list as a marketer, yes, I would want this entire journey of marketing and business correlation to be not so linear, which means at a certain point when you've done baseline, the amount of inflection that you get shouldn't be directly proportional to the amount of effort. Then you will get tired. So what is it that you need to do so that you have an exponential growth and outcome without having to put in the kind of effort you need every single time, or that it becomes a non-scalable design?
How do you see the future of marketing in the financial services from your lens?
I've been in financial services for about 8, 10, 12 years now, and most people say that it's such a boring category. I wouldn't agree at all, and I'll tell you why. In my so many years of working, I have found that do any kind of customer research, there are only two things which are very fundamental to human beings. Can you imagine or guess what they could be, Babu? Just two things.
One is money, another is medicine.
Money and food. One of that we manage. There's nothing
Correct.
more fundamental to people than that. And when you're managing customer communication in a category which is so fundamental, can you imagine how interesting it can be if you decide to make it interesting? The ability to build a connect between what business wants to do as an ambition and what is the customer ambition. I think we are in a very sweet spot to be able to change the dynamics between business and customers for good.
How are you also putting financial services into the day-to-day life of the human beings? How are you entering into the blending perspective, like how the retail is blending itself with the financial services
So I'll
today?
tell you my thought on that. And I worked very closely with one gentleman when I was working with Stancy, and he made a very valid point. He says retail is all in detail. It's a fact. For example, your neighborhood kirana store. Now a kirana store is meant for a purpose. What would it take for you as a business to become a point of purchase payment mechanism or a point of sale loan mechanism? If you were to look at your business opportunity like that, it's a watering hole for customers who wish to come to that kirana wala. It's also an excellent point for us to expand our business as SMEs because these are individual retails. I think there's tremendous opportunity for us to reinvent the way not just those businesses are financed, but their end customer who may or may not be our customer. There's tremendous ecosystem that we could build if we were to able to do it in a very planned way and leverage the strengths of what India retail brings.
So that is exactly what I wanted to also understand, how the sectors can blend with each other and try to take advantage of cross marketing. Any advice you would like to share with the marketeers in this space, either in the financial services or technology space?
Choose 5 things you want to do and do them so well that when you look back, you should be very proud. I would say that of a marketer too. Don't do 20,000 things saying हमने ये भी करा, हम social पे भी हैं, हम यहाँ हैं. What are you doing there? And when you say engagement, for whom is it intended and do they find it meaningful? So this ability to check what you do, the ability to loop back and get feedback from the ones you intended it for, and to recalibrate and use that feedback to build better, improved, and more meaningful dialogue is a great opportunity for marketers. But inherently in your DNA, if you're able to factor in that for every rupee invested, I should give back to business at least 2.5 rupees of return, maybe the way you structure your time or your teams or the kind of activities you do, you may want to do a rethink. It's like that 2x2 grid where we say urgent, important. In the context of marketing, I will say what impacts business and what impacts customers' lives in a meaningful way. If these two metrics you are able to measure well, I think you're in a good place.
So measurability is the key.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. We dwelled upon a lot of areas, and I am sure that the fraternity will be able to take a lot of interesting learnings out of this wonderful small conversation we have had. And we look forward to have more such interesting conversation with you in different areas and take
Thank
it
you.
to industry. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.